Welcome to another episode of
The Rey and Nev Show.
How you doing, Nev?
I was actually going to start it off.
I
forgot
saw that.
how
I
we
saw
did
it,
it.
dude. Listen, it's been so long that we all forgot how we did it, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But I'm glad to be back, man.
Yeah, I'm glad too. We have a new setup.
You set up. I love
Yeah,
it.
new lights. They're a little bright, but I think I'll get used to it.
You'll get used to it?
Yeah.
I think I can as well. So
Yeah.
listen, I want to go right into it, man. We have a very quick episode.
Okay.
We've been busy the last few weeks.
Absolutely.
We've been
Absolutely.
Slowly conquering the world, right?
Yeah.
So let's go right into it because obviously our viewers want to know what's been going on, right? So real estate's crazy.
Yeah, it's something right now.
It is something right now.
It's a word I don't think I want to use on camera, but it's something.
Yeah, it's crazy. But the good thing about, that's the best word we can use on camera. But
unbelievable.
Yes, unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. That's what it is.
More than ever.
Yeah.
More than ever, which is crazy.
What have you been experiencing?
So right now, there's a lot of turbulence in the industry with everything that's going on in the legal realm. And there's so much talking out there of things that aren't even, haven't even come to fruition or haven't even happened. Or, there's so much speculation right now that I think people just need to calm down and just relax and just, let the smoke settle.
Mm-hmm.
Let's figure out where we are after that. And let's see what we can do to help our communities, because that's basically what it is. Realtors have always been known to help communities, to grow their communities, to be a pillar in the community.
Yep.
And we're being painted in a bad light, and unfortunately, for the wrong reasons too. Listen, there's bad apples in every single industry, and we just suffered our blow from those bad apples, and they should be the one punished. Not the whole industry, because the whole industry, as a whole, I don't think is at fault. So. Yeah. So that's how about yourself? What have you been experiencing?
Honestly, this year has been unbelievable. It's been unbelievably great, and just unbelievably different than any previous years that I've been in the industry. Honestly, I have sellers that are just amazing.
Yes.
Like I'm not even trying to be sarcastic. Like, they're great.
No,
my sellers that I've been dealing with, they're great.
And the thing is, some of them have been buyers with us, so it makes it easy to transition to a seller because they know we have their best interests at heart. Yep. So that's a beautiful part.
That's something that I love seeing, is the vision that we built years ago when they first purchased the house is finally coming to fruition. Like, we let them know, you buy this house now, it's a starter home. You're going to build equity when you go to buy your next house. Then what? Are you going to make this an investment property or rental, or are you going to sell it, take equity, and buy something bigger? And a lot of them are either buying something bigger or taking the equity they've gained, buying, downsizing,
especially
and eliminating huge bills that they have.
Obviously, if we have baby boomers that are now getting close to retirement and wanting to do something different, that's probably the people that are taking advantage of that advice. And then there's people that are, I've had a couple where they decided just to keep the house and rent it out and then buy something else. Because because of when they bought, they obviously have a ton of equity. They have a great interest rate, and they just can use that, rental equity, rental profits to move on to a new home. But I wanted to talk about a certain subject today, and that subject is leadership in real estate. And the reason, let me explain to you. Let me preface this with what I saw just recently. So I saw there was a huge move from one company to another, and I've had agents that have left our company to go to other companies, and I always wish them well. I always say, hey, I wish you the best. Listen, if what they told you was going to happen doesn't happen, you're more than welcome to come back. My door's always open. You know how I am with that. And but I saw something really weird, right? I saw kind of like fear and panic. So I saw a message on Facebook, and here's the interesting part, right? So we have an office, obviously. We have teams, we have members, we have our family members that work with us. How do we communicate with them? Do we communicate through Facebook, or what do we use? What source of communication do we use?
I'm picking up the phone. I'm making a phone call first thing.
When I need to talk to all of you, what app do I use?
It's either text message. It's either going to be our platform or it's going to be WhatsApp.
Correct.
It's going to be a direct way, basically.
So here's my question, right? Why would I have to publish something on Facebook to my team.
That means either your team, you don't have communication with your team, or you really don't have a way to reach them.
Or how about if I give you the third option?
What's the
You
third
wanted the
option?
world to know what just happened,
Yeah.
and you wanted them to see it in a bad light.
Yeah, that too.
So here's where so the question that I have for you is what do you think are the qualities of a great leader?
The qualities of a great leader. I mean, that's a loaded question, right?
It is.
Because it's not just one quality.
No, there's
I think
many.
a great leader, the first thing a great leader has is vision.
Okay.
They're going to have a vision for something bigger and greater than themselves.
I see that.
And then immediately after vision is they're going to have that ability to feed the dream into their team.
Okay.
Those are two major qualities that I think in every great leader they have them. And these are leaders that I'm talking about. We're talking about sports, and we're talking about a Kobe Bryant, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about a Michael Jordan. We're talking about in the tech world. We're talking about a Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. They have this ability.
But what? So what trait? So my question is, so all of them have this, the similar trait, which we all want to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is we want to win. No matter what we do, we want to win, right? Like
Absolutely.
Elon Musk obviously wants to win the electronic car war, right? And he's winning it by far. He's probably has the most electrical vehicles out there on the road.
Vehicle.
And not only that, they collect so much data that he can evolve from that. So he's really good at that, and he's far ahead of everyone else. I mean, you would agree to that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Mark Zuckerberg, he owns Facebook and with Meta,
mm-hmm.
and he also owns Instagram, right? He went and bought Instagram. He owns WhatsApp as well.
Okay.
Right. So why did he buy those companies? Because those companies were going to allow him to win even more, right? Just expand to different marketplaces and expand in different markets where Facebook might be doing less coverage and less less people are Facebooking, but they're more doing Insta, so they're going over to Insta. But at the same time, it's about winning, right? Like Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my favorite winners is actually Tom Brady, and I like to use Tom Brady as an analogy because Tom Brady was the type of person, he was famous for this. He would take a pay cut to bring a team member that he knew he could bring on to win the game or win the championship, which is the ultimate goal, right? So it's all about winning, right? So my question to you is, when I was watching this video, right, and I was thinking about the traits of a winner leads you into a war that they know they planned for and they can win.
Mm-hmm.
But when a leader is guiding you blindly and has to go and tell the world that, and this is the worst part of that text message that I saw. He actually mentioned the company that team went to. So because he mentioned the company that team went to, it probably opened the eyes of other people within his team to say, why did you do this on Facebook? Why did you do this? Why didn't you just send us a WhatsApp? Or why don't you use the inner portal that because my agent account, we can send a message to everybody in the office via email, via text, right? Our technology has been there for over 2 years. Technology that now other companies are bringing on board to their company because obviously they see that our technology is great. Mm-hmm. And I don't fault them for that. I want them to do that because if they're going to grow with that, more power to them, But I feel like one of the biggest traits a leader has is if they have a vision, then that vision, one of the biggest things is that vision has to be a true vision. Mm-hmm. It can't be, hey, this is my vision, but this is really what we're going to do with it, right? So like, I'll give you a perfect example, right? One of the biggest things that I talk about is our revenue share, right? Our revenue share focuses on agent, right? Agent first, agent centric, right? Why? Because we want to make sure our agents are the ones that win, right? And if you have a leader that has agents that win, then eventually they'll win because they're creating agents that are leaders that are going out there teaching agents how to win.
Yep.
But if you're teaching them how to win for me, the company, the broker, right? You're kind of bait and switching. And then if you're a leader that's saying, oh, whoa, we're going to stay with the broker that is doing that as opposed to the broker that is actually wanting to win with agents, then that's where I think it's a shift problem. Mm-hmm. That's where I think the leader is lacking either a sense of communication, a sense of maturity. Because, I've had a ton of agents come and go, right? And I have agents that have gone and come back. And every single one of them, I always say the same thing. Listen, I don't know what you're looking for. I wish I had it here. And if I don't, I apologize. But I wish you the best. Go find what you're looking for. Because I tell you, not every single real estate office is for every real estate agent. There's all shapes and sizes for different people. So not everybody's cut out to be at La Rosa, right? And I hate to say it that way, but that's the truth. La Rosa is a different breed of people, because we not only eat what we catch, but we created kind of a revenue share plan that allows us to do it together, right? Normally, the old plan that was I eat myself, you don't eat from me, and I don't eat from you. But with the new plan, we can all eat from each other and help each other. But the biggest difference from us compared to everyone else is that we don't focus on the broker eating first. We focus on the agent eating first, and then the broker can eat whatever's left over. And that's in essence the difference of why we're truly the only agent-centric company, I think, in Florida. I think in the industry right now, when you really go down to the X's and O's of a game plan, of a playbook, you'll see that our program, obviously people are going to copycat it now because I'm saying this, but our program just by far is superior to every other program. Now, that being said, you know what I do, Neville, and I got to do it on this podcast. Listen, if you don't agree, I'm okay with you to disagreeing, but put it in the comment section. And then if you're willing, because I know I've never get any takers for this, by the way.
No,
it's been almost like
I don't think I've ever seen no one say, "Hey, yeah, let's
almost a year,
let's have this conversation."
Almost a year, and no one's ever come to me and said, "I don't understand why." I'm an easygoing guy, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, if there's any takers, I'm willing to debate. We'll do it on my podcast, our podcast, or we can do it on yours. It doesn't matter to me.
They all have one, don't they?
I think so.
I mean, they all do.
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care if you have 3 subscribers or 1 million subscribers. The real estate industry needs to know the truth. And I think that if we sit down in an open forum, everybody wins, because we're giving the real estate industry the ability to choose who they feel is the best fit program for them.
Yep.
It might be you, it might be us. We don't know. But if we sit down and have a respectful dialogue, I can almost guarantee you that every single time, 100% of the time, the person that wins is the person watching, because that person is going to be able to determine based on actual true knowledge of the two. Now,
and make knowledgeable decisions from the information.
The only problem is that I've done this now for a year and no one's ever taken me up on it. So I don't know if anyone's just not brave enough.
I mean, but you sat down with agents from other companies.
I have,
and had this discussion with them. What usually happens at the end of it?
So one of the discussions that I had was a gentleman that was at one of the companies, and he had not unlocked 2 of his final levels, but he had a huge downline. And in the conversation that I had, I said, well, listen, if I unlock just the levels that we have, right, this is what I would make. And it was more than what he would make, even unlocking the other 2 levels with the amount of people that I had, which was about half the people that he would have.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really interesting to him. And at the end of the day, he looked at it and he said, listen, unfortunately, I wish I could make a shift over, but there's so many variables to my contract that any type of shift would cause me to lose, whether it be money, whether it be revenue, whether it be stock, whether it be just a lawsuit, because of different clauses in the contract. So that was an interesting conversation that I had with one individual. The other individual, which is, I've had this with multiple, but said to me, if I didn't have so much vested stock in my company, I would definitely shift over. Then I had a third individual who looked at it and said, this is a no-brainer. Why aren't more people moving over? And I said, because we don't like to tell the world what we have, because we've kind of been a silent brokerage for a really long time. But watching that video this weekend, it kind of made me upset. Now,
there's another one. There's a fourth one that you expressed everything that we had compared to them, and eventually they did come over. And they brought a lot of people with them.
Yeah, but that one, which said it was a no-brainer, which said, yeah, let's make the move. That's the one that caused the rhetoric. So, and I think it caused the rhetoric because this particular individual actually was a La Rosa agent before, when we didn't have the rev share plan. See, we disrupted the 100% model, but we never disrupted the rev share because we didn't feel like the rev share plan had a disruptive mechanism in it, because of the fact that it just seemed like a really good plan. And when you study it well enough, and when you study it enough, you start to realize that it has major, like, big gulping holes in them, like huge holes. And those huge holes are put there on purpose, right? So watch the cease and desist come for this. What happens is these huge holes are not really holes. They're just the agency advantage, meaning me, the broker, Ray Zapata, will get paid more money because you are not getting paid, because I put this hole in there on purpose for you not to get paid so I can get your money. And I think that is very, very bait and switch.
What's an example of one of them?
Oh, man. 90-day hold period. Why do I have to wait? So when I joined the company, I have to wait. No matter what I do the first 90 days, I don't get any money. So if I recruit somebody and I recruit and I qualify, which that's another thing, that's number 2. But if I recruit and qualify, if any of those agents that I brought, even though I qualified and they closed, I don't get paid for 90 days.
So after those 90 days, though, I'll get that money?
Yeah, absolutely not.
No, I don't.
No, you don't. So what happens is they keep it. And then, so your agents are still closing, right? The team that you're building is still closing. And then after 90 days, what they do is as your agents close, you think the money would then come to you, right? Because 90 days has passed. No, it goes up above you and covers your cap. So you can cap first. Where does the cap go? The cap goes to
the company.
So what happens is all that money, 100% of it goes to the company. It doesn't go to your downline. It doesn't go to your upline at all. That's a problem to me.
So basically what you're saying, first things first, first 90 days, the brokerage
no rev share
before me, the agent, gets to eat.
Correct.
Man, that doesn't sound fair to me.
And you brought those agents on board. You made sure those agents were trained correctly because you're mentoring them. You made sure they came over, they understood the books, they understood how it works, they understood the programs that you offer, and all that stuff. I understand, like, listen, most of that stuff and all that stuff, most brokerages offer those things, CRMs, websites, all that, right? Where I think the difference is in how we take care of the agent, right? Because day one at La Rosa, you come over, you bring an agent with you, that agent's underneath you, that agent closes a deal, you get paid. No questions asked. You don't have, so I'll give you number 2. Number 2 is you have to qualify a certain amount of people in your line before that line can actually open up. With La Rosa, there's no qualifiers. As long as you have an agent in that line, that's your qualifier, right? That agent closes, you get paid. 2 agents down, that agent closes, you get paid. It doesn't really matter. There's no qualifying. And I understand the qualifying factor. The qualifying factor is obviously ways for the company to generate revenue as it grows. And listen, I merit that because obviously a company needs to make money in order to continue to grow and stuff like that, and to get the resources necessary for the agent. But if you're a company that claims to be agent centric, you have to be agent centric across the board, man.
Yeah.
Like, the beautiful thing about La Rosa is La Rosa was built by agents for the agents. There's no other company out there. Agencies will say it, but when you really dig deep into the breakdown of how that model is created, you start to see a lot of, I wouldn't call them bottlenecks, because bottlenecks are problems in my business. They're not problems. It's only a problem if I didn't catch it, and it wasn't
on purpose.
It wasn't giving me an advantage.
Yeah.
But it's not a problem when I put it there purposely.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem. It's actually a solution for the agency.
Yeah.
And agencies will outgrow other agencies because they're going to say this, right? So, hey, La Rosa Realty is thinking about the agent first. So they're thinking themselves all the way to the poorhouse. And what they don't realize is that our agents, because they're happy.
What do they mean by that?
Well, obviously, because all the money's going out, the majority of the money's going back to the agent. They feel like, well, La Rosa's not making enough revenue to cover, which is by far the complete opposite. We have happier agents.
So hold on, do they say that in order to justify how much money they're taking from their agent?
Absolutely, 100%.
That's what it sounds like to me.
100%, I think so. I think that they're saying it because they feel that at the end of the day, they will deter their agents by saying, "Hey, you go over there tomorrow, and they're gonna shut down." Which I was told, by the way, when I came over to La Rosa, that's exactly what I was told. And I came to La Rosa 14 years ago. So stable company, who was told can never get on, NASDAQ stock exchange, and we did. Was told we would never grow to a certain amount of agents. Was told we were never going to have the best rev share plan in the planet. We do. There's a lot of things we were told we couldn't do, and we did it. So that being said, it just amazes me when I hear an agent out there. He didn't badmouth us. He just said where that agent went. And you know what? Realistically, I want to thank him, because what he did was he opened up the eyes of other agents. So now when other agents see this podcast, this episode, they're going to be like, well, I want to know what Ray's talking about. I want to know what Neville's talking about, right?
Maybe we need to put a link to his video.
Yeah, we could.
On the bottom of ours.
Absolutely, 100%. I think we need to give him a shout out. Now you've been in RevShare now for a year, and obviously we've been growing the RevShare. How has it benefited you?
I think it's benefited me in two ways, right? It's kind of almost, I'll say the first way, the impact that it's had just on my professional career, because it's kind of forced me into that leadership role, right? I'm bringing in agents. Some of them are more experienced, some far less experienced than myself. And ultimately, I want them to be at the same level as me. So what does that mean?
You want them to grow with you, so they're going to continue to do what you do.
Continuously learning to keep up with the ones that are more experienced than me.
Absolutely.
And then teaching the ones that are less.
Yeah.
So it's been improving my business personally on that level. And on the other side of it, there's been added revenue, coming into my business because of that.
Correct. So you're generally running a real business within a business, because now you're not just a salesperson, you're actually a sales leader, and you're building your own organization under the organization.
Exactly.
How do you like that? What attracted you to that?
The first thing is I don't need to have the E&O insurance for myself, right? I don't have to worry about the overheads from having an office. All I worry about is my agents. That's it. That's my only concern.
So it makes it easier for you to be a sales leader.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to worry about the back office.
I don't have to worry about any of that.
Because we take care of your back office. Now, truth be told, that's how other companies are doing it as well. I mean, that part is very similar. But what is the added benefit to you in regards to how La Rosa does it versus everyone else?
The added benefit to me, compared to everyone else, is that there's no mystery. There's no mystery. There's no confusion.
Break that down for me.
The plan is the plan. I actually was able to kind of unpack that for a new agent yesterday. And I told him, all right, I'm going to write out everything that you need to know. I wrote 3 things on the paper and was like, this is it. This is our plan. There's no added anything. This is what you get. This is it. And he's like, oh, okay. It's pretty easy to understand.
That's
because
crazy.
It is.
Now, you know that, there's companies that are NASDAQ as well. And there's also companies that are actually thinking about going public. And that's one of the things that they push, right? We've been to events, and, we've been to other companies' events where they talk about that as well. In other industries, we have friends that work in those. Just to talk reality, right? Like, we know we have a friend whose company decided not to go public and decided to do what? Sell.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So that changed dramatically the compensation structure of how they were taken care of, how they were compensated when the sale occurred, as opposed to when they would have gone public, right? Because the money definitely drops down tremendously. So if you have vested in the company and you have what we call equity within the company, that equity, and the company's not publicly traded yet, that equity, if the owner who has the right to do this decides to sell, then that equity shoots down a large percentage based on how much equity you have, how much money they paid for the business, and stuff like that. All right, because you're buying two things: you're buying the agency, right, and you're buying their book of business, in that particular industry. But in our industry, when you do sell, you're only buying the agents, right? I don't know if you heard the Barbara Cochran story, where she sold for like 66 million, and then before a year it was only worth like 20 mil. So when the difference between us and that, and the reason why I bring that up is because in the stock option program, well, obviously we have stock options already because we're publicly traded, and I feel like that gives us maybe a little edge over the companies that are not publicly traded yet that are doing the rev share program. But yeah, that's just an added bonus for me, I think.
I mean, for me, it's like, okay, if you're giving me stocks saying we're not publicly traded, what's the actual value of these stocks?
Yeah.
Like, where do I go to calculate the number?
No, and not only that. So let's say you do go public and you decide to go in at a high rate, right? And you were given, just for example, you were giving $17,000 worth of shares, because obviously it has to be a dollar amount. And then instead of valuating at $1, so you can get 17,000 shares, you valuate at $4.
$4, yeah.
And then now your stock drops by 4%.
Yeah.
By 4 times. And so
your shares.
So instead of 17,000, 17,000 now drops to what, like 4,000 shares, 3,000 shares. So that's important to understand. And then the market's always going to be volatile, and it's going to be bears and bulls, right? Up and down, and that's important to know. You know what you can expect from us compared to other companies out there.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I commend everybody out there that's running a business, because obviously you're an entrepreneur and you're a capitalist and you're helping grow people, help people. And there was a need for a change in the real estate industry, and I commend a lot of the people that were the pioneers of bringing it over. I just feel, because it's not into something new. You and I both know this is something that has come from insurance, but to be honest with you, is to see it evolve in real estate, because it's a little bit different. I feel that this is going to be a game changer, and the person with the best compensation plan will end up on top.
I will say this: I think the person who wins the most is going to be the clients.
Yeah,
because with agents coming in and they have an upline, they're being coached better, they're being taught better. They have strong leaders instead of it just being relying on one leader to hopefully coach 4,000 agents. You have more leaders that can actually build the industry.
Yeah.
So I think the person at the end of the day, no matter what office you go to, the client is going to win.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing about that is, I always say, is the customer will win when you have a knowledgeable agent in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the more knowledgeable agents you can have in front of them, the better it is. And, you'll probably see in the comment lines where they'll say, well, LaRosa doesn't have knowledgeable agents, so that's okay. I mean, they can say that. Listen, the bigger we get, the bigger hate we're going to get. And I'm okay with that. But just understand that I have agents in my office that I'm willing to put up against any agent out there in the industry. And I guarantee you that not only will they beat them in production, not only will they beat them in volume, but they also will beat them in knowledge. Because the more you do it, obviously in real estate, it doesn't matter the amount of years you hold the license. What matters is the amount of transactions you do are going to guide your knowledge and your experience throughout the years. So I think that is what we focus on, making sure our agents are industry leaders in knowledge and transactions and volume. Because what happens with that is then they're able to train and they're able to mentor. Actually, I don't want to use the word train. They're able to mentor agents to become better leaders as well, because they were great leaders. So they build great leaders. And I love the aspect of, hey, if I win, you win. And that's one thing that at LaRosa I love. And obviously, what's our mission statement?
I mean, family, passion, growth. But we have a winning culture.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to, is that we're going to celebrate everybody's wins because we're all winning.
Correct. And that's the beautiful part about it. Now, I do want to touch on, because we just had news that came out this morning that another MLS has decided.
Okay, so this is a segue into another segment.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about that, because this is my favorite conversation.
Yeah. So another MLS PIN decided they were not, and they took a different approach.
What's the location of PIN?
I think it's Philadelphia, right? No, I know it's up north.
Yeah, I didn't get to see exactly where PIN was, but yes.
Yeah, so they decided they're not going to take compensation now. But I like their approach.
Yeah.
Right? What was their approach? Do you remember?
Their approach is that compensation is part of freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech.
And that's something that the DOJ is trying to remove from us.
Yeah, so they're violating our freedom of speech, which is crazy, because in capitalism, basically what they were saying in the article when I read it was that when the government gets involved with the private sector, right, they're violating our rights, because there's nothing wrong with putting the compensation on there. They can't prove that the compensation being on there is an issue.
So is the compensation being on there, is it harming the public?
It's not.
Is the question. If it's not harming the public, then asking us to remove it is
harming the public.
Is actually them taking away some of our freedom
of speech, some of our rights.
Yes,
within the freedom of speech. So I kind of like their approach, and I kind of like that there's a lot of MLSs out there that are being rebellious, and California started it.
Yep.
So got to give them a
something to praise California for, right?
Yeah,
they're finally
doing something right, But I think the biggest thing about that is they started it. Other people are following suit, and I think that that is going to be it's going to be a game changer. We'll see how it happens in July and August.
I'm going to say this. I was a little bit disappointed with how our MLS was handling it. Because
you were at the event, right? So there was an event on Monday. Talk to me a little bit about that event.
So that event is called Embrace and Adapt. So it was actually an event that was curated by Joe LaRosa. Had a lot of leaders in the industry from Oscar and Aura. And of course, we had our.
I think we had Tampa there too, right?
And Tampa. It was actually Tampa instead of Aura because he couldn't make it. So yeah, one of the leaders from Tampa was there as well. But we discussed a lot with what was happening in our MLS Stellar, and of course the change doesn't really get applied to us until the 16th of August. But our MLS, I feel like, folded. And basically was like, oh yeah, whatever DOJ says, that's what we need to do. And you know what? We're going to actually jump the gun and do it faster than everybody else. So we're going to apply those changes the 6th of August.
Wow.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And basically when asked, so what do we do about commissions? Oh no, Stellar has nothing to do with it. We can't help you there, was their response. And we have it on camera. We can't help you.
I heard somebody
is their response.
I heard somebody went after him. Like,
oh man,
who was it? Do we know? Who was it?
I don't want to say his name. I don't want to put him out there.
But is it somebody I know?
It is someone you know.
Okay.
He stood up, and you know what? I applaud him for what he said, because it was basically they said, hey, these are the rules. This is what it is. If you have any questions about it, don't ask us. We don't have anything else to say.
That's horrible.
That's what it was.
That's horrible.
And
that's like a brokerage, saying, hey, here's the rules. We support these rules, even though we don't think, like, they know that it's not right, but they're still supporting it.
Yeah.
That kind of like backdoor supporting it, which is horrible.
It honestly did not. I didn't leave that event feeling very confident about our Stellar MLS, but I did feel confident about others. It was kind of fun.
This is what I heard, and I love the fact that it was narrated like this, because I unfortunately I was unable to be there. But then we had my state MLS on.
They came and killed it.
They were like, and everybody was loving them. I heard,
bro, everybody was ready to switch over. They said, "Oh, what? You can't do commissions over there? Come to my state MLS and go ahead and let's talk about commissions."
Wow!
Put it on every listing.
Wow! Well, and I heard that was an entrepreneur.
That was a entrepreneur. That was a business owner.
What was her name?
That was a capitalist that came in, and I don't remember what her name. Seen a problem
and then
encountered the problem and say, you know what? Let me think about it and let me give a solution.
Yeah.
And she couldn't find a solution, so what did she do?
She created one.
She created it herself.
And that's what, and obviously that's what an entrepreneur does. That being said, like I think that still a lot of unanswered questions from that event. I mean, we got a bunch of them answered, but still a lot of unanswered questions. And everybody that I always look at it in this way, because this is another thing that is a really big, taking it back to leaders. This is another thing that I think it's an important characteristic of a leader, is a leader that is willing to fight for something, right? Because I always heard that if you don't have any haters, you're not really fighting for anything.
Yeah.
And La Rosa has a lot of haters right now, so I think our fight is rough, and I think that it's an uphill battle for us, because we get attacked from all different sides, especially being a small company, being the little David versus Goliath. But I say we just keep doing what we do, and I think that one of the biggest things that we need to see in a leader, like you said with Stella versus My State MLS, is that one of them is folding and the other one's saying, "No, I'm creating solutions, man.
Yeah.
I'm creating solutions for you guys because I think that you guys deserve those solutions." And at the end of the day, if we sat down with any consumer and we said, "Here's the problem, here's why, and here's what happened," they're probably going to side